Mills fashion to kick back towards the wing for Lady! Left now, lines them up. It's coming back. Cox is the biggest man there.
G'day guys, welcome to Red Time ahead of a blockbuster wildcard weekend. I'm Jared Barker and as always I'm joined by Mason Cox, who's enjoying a week off at the moment. Coxy, what does that consist of? You must just be, can't wait to kick the feet up and look at those losers in a wildcard round, have to battle it out just to be where you are next week.
Oh man, it's a good feeling to be able to have a weekend off before the chaos of finals. But no, pretty chill. We had a few extra days off given we don't play this weekend, so I got to stay in Melbourne and catch up with some friends and stuff, which was nice. And then walked down to Collingwood's training, just had a little peek there and said bye to some people because never got a chance to do that unfortunately last year. So I said bye to a few different people, and then did some recovery running, and then came back to Perth and just been hanging out. So we had training and stuff and review and whatnot today.
Yeah. I was going to say, you speak on review there. How much do you look? Because it was an indifferent finish to the season for you guys with a couple of losses there, one to Melbourne, one to Carlton on the weekend, which has people now having different opinions on your team. How much do you review those games, if you do at all, or right now, is it just blinkers on, look towards September?
Yeah, we definitely review everything. So we had the review with Carlton. It was a bit short and sweet. I think, we kind of knew throughout. I mean, we had a bit of time to really kind of sit in that loss for a little bit, given the fact that we had a few days off. But we review it. We take what we can out of it and try to figure out what's going to make us best for this finals campaign. But we'll move past it today and kind of focus on the future from here on out. But I think everyone's just really excited about finals, and it's going to start feeling real, I think, once the kind of games are played this weekend, that it's all happening, which is an exciting time of the year. And it's gone by very quickly. It's gone by very quickly.
Very quickly. So what's important in finals then? Because the pressure obviously goes up. The intensity in the games obviously goes to a completely new level that you don't get usually during the home and away season. A lot of momentum swings. Is there one thing that you have to focus on more in finals footy compared to when it's a home and away game?
Finals footy is just a very different experience in general to a regular season. I feel like the pressure, the intensity, everything kind of goes up. So I think there's sometimes obviously you have to match that and try to exceed what the opposition is doing, but also there has to be this this ability really to just be able to have calm among the chaos and just be able to have a good game plan that everyone's on the same page and be able to stick to that, I think, is the biggest thing. So yeah, it's an exciting time of year to still be involved, obviously, and it is such a different kind of game to regular seasons in a weird way, and you do really get the best of everyone because once you get to a certain point, it is win or go home.
Yep, indeed. We're going to talk about those games very shortly, but before we do, we've got to get through start, bench, or drop. So let's play the role of selector for the following statements, Coxy. Players shouldn't have to wait until the off-season to know who their coach is. So obviously the Bombers are announcing Mark McVeigh as their new head coach only this week after the Bombers have completed their season, the week of or a day before their exit interviews start. I just find it really interesting timing. So what are you doing here?
I'm going to bench. I can go both ways on this in a sense because, like, players, obviously you want to know whether or not, you're going to be favored by a coach. So being able to get to know them a little bit before, I guess, the end of the year, where if you go to a coach and the coach is honest and direct with you and says, hey, look, like, we're going to start valuing something that you probably don't provide for this team. You might want to go somewhere else. You would appreciate the clarity of that. And all this is contextual, obviously. But then if you look at players getting traded and things like that, you go, okay, well, if I'm going to go to a team, I want to know kind of what the person that's going to be in charge is going to be able to, provide in a sense, and the different kind of culture they're going to bring to the club. So it's a tough one for Essendon to kind of be able to, I guess, go and recruit until that head coach is there. And it's still a bit of time towards the end of the season where if, I guess, your head coach, halfway through the year, you might start the trade process and recruiting process along those lines a little bit earlier. But where Essendon's going at the moment, obviously kind of towards the bottom of the ladder, I don't think there's probably a lot of people that, are going to probably go to Essendon and say, I want to, be proactively seeking out Essendon as a trade. It's probably more the players that are towards the back end of their career that maybe get delisted that go, okay, maybe here's another opportunity to go with a younger squad that's being developed and maybe won't have success right away, but part of building a bigger culture.
The one thing is, it's so as a player, it would obviously be pretty important to know who your coach is before you do the exit interview. You have to do the exit interview with the new coach, surely. So that they've ticked that as much as they left it as late as they bloody possibly could. I feel like the question would be like, does the coach get any benefit just observing from the outside without actually coaching the team? Like, how much would Mark McVeigh have assessed them from afar whilst going through this process is my only question. And the players in that, if that's the case, would not have too much time to actually impress him. That's my only little concern with waiting this late. But I feel like, the off-season's a good time to ease into it for him. He's going to have to put a lot of his fingerprints on a lot of the decisions that they're going to make, trade, draft, and all of that with what's going to happen with the list. And I guess now that he's in as early as possible at the start of the off-season is probably a good thing, because he does have time now to make those decisions to put the club in the best state moving forward in 2027 and beyond. But speaking of Mark McVeigh and the Bombers, we're staying there for the next topic as well.
Yes. So door-stopping delisted players immediately after exit interviews. Wow. Just ruthless. Ruthless to think that this is happening. Yeah. But, sorry, I've actually skipped over one here. We can go.
We've got door-stopping coming up. I was going to say we'll just keep it going and do the next one anyway. But
sorry, we'll go to the next one. New coaches at rebuilding clubs are set up to fail. Now, this kind of rolls into the other bit. Now, obviously, it's tough to really say that you are going to come in bang. Like, I look at Craig McRae at Collingwood in 2023, and I say, 2021, I think is 22 maybe, whenever he came in. Pretty incredible to turn a list around that quickly and be able to kind of get everyone on the same page and have success that early. Usually it takes 2 to 3 years, and a little bit of success will kind of trickle in before you kind of see whether or not a coach is really going to be able to be successful with that team for a long period. But it's a tough one. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think, I've put this on the bench. I think there's some cases where they are set up to fail. Like, what can a coach realistically do when they inherit a wooden spoon list? Which is what the case is right now for Mark McVeigh. But you can compare it to like an Andrew McWalter at West Coast and Adam Uze at Richmond, both young teams. They haven't won much. They got rid of a lot of experience, and they've been put under a bit of pressure this year. There's been a lot of conversations about what their standing is at those clubs, which I find a little bit unfair because of what they have. I think they're making do with what they've got, but they're probably both examples of a win-loss record maybe not telling us the job that they're really doing. And only those inside the club can really know that. I think, though, and why I've benched it is because it's circumstantial. I think Essendon have the chance to actually start as a higher base than what Richmond and West Coast started at with those two guys at the helm. I'm not overrating the list, but it needs bolstering. But you look at maybe what happened with Melbourne under Stephen King. It's a new coach, it's a new game plan, it's fresh, the players are rejuvenated. Look at Carlton under Josh Fraser. Sometimes a new system can trump the individual talent that you have on a playing list. So can Mark McVeigh have that same effect? You look at Andrew McWalter and Adam Uze, you look at Carlton and Melbourne with the changes that they've made as well. It can go either way. This is why I've put it on the bench. I think Essendon's list isn't in as poor a shape as some others may expect. I'm not saying they're making finals, so don't overreact to me saying this. But I think Essendon will be okay. We just have to wait and see what he does. I'm not sure what fans will expect in year one next year and what we should deem a pass mark for them.
Yeah, realistically, the Carlton and Melbourne, they had a good list going in there, and there's subtle changes to the game plan have had a massive impact on the way they're going. But you look at like the Richmond, who kind of just got rid of all those players really that were part of the Premiership side and a lot of experience, and they kind of committed to the rebuild in a sense. And you have to be able to give a bit of leeway and time for someone like that. And I think it's 2 to 3 years. I'll look at North Melbourne and what Clarko's doing over there, and he's probably in his second, third year now. And they're at least showing hope to the fans, and they've won a few games where maybe they've been to the underdog. They've kind of been able to bring on some players for a longer term periods of contracts, and that's a sign that your club's building a culture that people are buying into, and eventually that will show on the field. So I think there's certain circumstances for each kind of coach, but I look at that the Carlton and Melbourne, I think, are very different circumstances to what a Richmond would kind of be. Yep,
interesting. To see what actually does happen with the Bombers there for sure. I'll give you the door-stopping one. Door-stopping delisted players immediately after exit interviews. Start, bench, drop.
Yeah, I'm going to drop this one. If you just door stop me after I had an exit interview, there'd be a few F-bombs coming your way. Let's be realistic. You're probably not in the headspace to be talking to the media.
So,
at that
so you
moment,
weren't door
especially if
stopped
it was a
last year?
surprise. Well, I was in the United States, so
That
I was just swiftly called. Yeah, and it's kind of one of those things. Probably in the moment, still quite raw, especially if you didn't see it coming. Some people know it's coming, and some people, their management has kind of told them before they go into an exit interview to say like, "Hey, here's the situation," just to give you a heads up, so you're not kind of blindsided. But yeah, I think as door stopping, I'm not a fan in general of it. I think you can be able to give that, that news piece in a week's time or a couple weeks time, in a sense, whenever the year kind of finishes up and then trade period kind of starts. Because realistically, what those door stopping people want to know is, are you going to do it again? Are you going to try to get traded somewhere else, wherever it is? And that will all come out whenever, the focus of the IFL starts heading in that direction for the next year. So I don't think door stopping is necessary. I'm not a fan of it. And it's a little bit of an invasion of privacy, I will say. But I know media, that's just kind of how the world works, and they just want to be the first to things. So I totally get both sides of it. So I'll drop it, but I understand.
Yeah, I think why journos would like it is because it gives them real-time answers without the PR safeguarding that an organisation or a club will give them. So that's why they obviously like that. They want the scoop. I don't know, I've always found it a little bit weird. It's not something that I'm very keen on myself. I put this one on the bench. So it happened with Jackson Mead after his exit interview this week with Port Adelaide. That copped a fair bit of criticism. The journo that was there for 9 did insist that it was helped facilitated by the club as well, and they gave Jackson the opportunity to at least express his desire to play elsewhere if an opportunity came. So, look, I see both sides of it as well, but yeah, I just don't think you ever get much from them. So I've put it on a bench, but if you made me pick, I'd lean towards a drop here for sure.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we'll move to the next one. Max Gawn's 9 All-Australians will never be beaten. It's a fair accomplishment for the big man. A very good player.
Yeah, I'm dropping it. I think it will be beaten. So obviously he gets his 9th All-Australian blazer last night. Very deserved, a champion of Melbourne, a gun, a star of the competition. I think one of the greatest ruckmen of the modern era, clearly. 34 years old, gets his 9th blazer. So will it be broken? You look at who's behind him. Paddy Dangerfield's 36. He's only on 8. I don't think he can make another All-Australian. Bontempelli is also on 8. He's 30. He's got a fair bit of time left. So I reckon he can surpass Max. This is, Gawn can still get a couple of blazers. I don't know how long he's got left. I'm not sure of his contract status, but I think Bont, who is 30 on 8 blazers, can absolutely go past him. And then you can look further back at someone like Nick Dacos, who's 23. He's had 5 seasons in the AFL. 4 of them earned him All-Australian selection. He got his 4th in a row last night. Age of 23. He's clearly got a long time left. So someone like him can probably get into double digits as well. We know he's got that capability. So for me, as I said, I'm gonna drop this one. I think the 9 Blazers, Gawn's record, will be broken one day.
Yeah, I'm going to drop this also. It's a heck of an accomplishment, 9 All-Australians, obviously, and a very good player, to say the least. But I do look at the Bont, probably going to get more than him or equal amount, I would say. Obviously, still playing very good footy at age 30. And then, like I said, Nick he's a freak. He's the AFL Players Association best player this year. He's going to run out for the Brownlow pretty easily, get his first Brownlow. And, he's an incredible player, incredible star of the game. And, he's only at 4 at 23, and I think he's pretty much a lock for at least 10. So it's exciting to see that for Nick, and credit to Gawn. It's someone I've had to play against for a long time, and always enjoy playing against some of the best guys in the league. So it's a credit to him for being 9-time All-Australian.
Look at the smirk on your face. Yeah, you've loved playing against him. What'd you get, a Queen's Birthday BOG against him? Of course you'll say that. He's obviously a champion. You've played on him a lot in your career. What is it that makes him so good? Why does he have 9 All-Australians, Coxy? And how much time during the week when you play against Melbourne has to go into stopping the influence of Max Gawn?
Yeah, I would say he's easily the best contested mark ruckman that we've kind of seen over the last decade I think there's different things that different players kind of bring. Obviously, him and Luke Jackson right now are the two All-Australian ruckmen, and Luke's a bit more agile and I guess probably involved in the play after. I look at like Brody Grundy, who's been an All-Australian ruckman for a fair chunk and always kind of going against Gawn in that sense. He's probably a better follow-up ruckman than Gawn is, but then I would say Gawn is a way better contested mark than Brody. So I think different things are valued by different people. Some people like the stats and some people like the impact of certain stacks. So it can depend on who you're talking to, but yeah, Gawn's a good player. He's got a tank like nobody else. I think he as a team, you always kind of target him knowing kind of what he can bring to the table for his own team and also being the captain of that team. So his leadership, his ability to get around the ground, contested marking, and he's a really good tap ruckman also. I think it put him in good stand for over a decade. And he's definitely, as a ruckman, I've got a lot of respect for him. And it's tough to say that someone's been better than you, but I will happily say that Max Gawn has been better than me over the last decade.
You can always say you were a Queen's birthday BOG, Coxie. You'll always have that.
Hashtag never forget.
What do we got here? So Gawn will be out there on Saturday, but someone who won't be out there, a veteran of a different club that won't be out there on Friday, is of course a Collingwood veteran. The Pies can't replace what Scott Pendlebury gives them in finals.
I'm going to start that. I've obviously played alongside with him for a long time, and whenever it comes to these pressure situations and decisions have to be made just like that in such a quick way. Pendles is always, I feel like, right. He's another coach on ground, as everyone always says, but I think there's that trust and ability for him to make the correct decision in those pressure situations that make him such a value to that team. And a lot of guys within that team also look towards him for that leadership whenever, everything's kind of on the line and everything's really, the pressure's on and the kettle's boiling. So, I think it's tough to replace Scott, his experience and everything else. Obviously, they've got Steele and a few other guys and Jeremy Howe too that have played quite a bit of games over there at Collingwood Football Club. But, it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, I'll look at the way, we played in the prelim against Brisbane whenever he went down. And you can definitely tell there was a shift in that game once he was injured and sitting on the back of the bench. So we'll see kind of how they pan out over the weekend. But he's one player I think that is invaluable to that team and is going to be important for their finals campaign if they continue on.
We know how calm and composed he can be in the chaotic moments and the chaotic games, which really is finals footy and what it's about. So when the game gets really quite frantic, when the contest really heats up, how much did you notice his communication and his organisation skills when he was out there on the ground? Because you can look at what he does with the ball, but what was he like without the ball during finals as well? And is it as important as what he can do with the footy?
Yeah, I mean, as a ruckman, it's pretty simple for us. It says, tell us where to hit it, we'll hit it there. But no, I think for him, like, obviously there's a lot more that goes into the coaching side of like setups for mids, positioning and where you're going to be and how the team's trying to expose you in different scenarios. So I think that was kind of where his experience came in the most, and just calm amongst the chaos. Like I'll look back to the grand final in 23, and it's a story that's been told of, him kind of coming into the center bounce and saying there's plenty of time left, don't need to kind of rush anything and do anything kind of out of the game plan to try to win this game right away. Like we will be able to ease into this and be able to kind of break them. So there's that kind of leadership, I think, that comes with experience, comes with being in those situations quite a bit. And he's definitely got that under his belt. So it's a huge benefit for them as a club.
Yeah, I'm starting this one as well. I think there's only one Pendles, and he's a massive loss indeed. It's now time for the hot stat checklist powered by StatMate. Download the app for free now. I'll get us started with the Western Bulldogs versus Collingwood. So it's no secret Josh Dacos loves playing at the MCG. In Collingwood's 14 games there this season, he's averaged 28.1 disposals. On the other side is Matt Kennedy. He's been getting his hands dirty in the last 2 weeks. After a pretty lean run, he's had 27 and 26 the last couple of games, and he averages 25.2 at the G in his last 5 games there. So we'll go 28 for Dacos, 25 for Kennedy. What do you think?
Yeah, I'll say that. I'll say Dacos for 28, Kennedy for 25 plus.
Okay.
I kind of want to shoot out, We're it's a wild card, right? Yeah. You never know what's going to happen.
The Dogs have been very good defensively.
Like
I don't reckon we'll get a shootout here. I don't know.
I don't think so either, but I would hope it happens. I don't know. I just want some excitement, It's a wild card round. We didn't expect this to happen this year anyway, so why not have a good game and just have a bit of fun with it? But Yeah, it is. It is going to be a bit more of a defensive game, I think. So I don't know. I think they'll be right on the edge of 28-25. I don't think they'll turn around for a 40 piece by any means. But yeah, they're very good players. I think everyone kind of knows that, and I think some of the best players have to shine on the biggest stage. So we'll see how they go.
They do. So Ed Richards and Marcus Bontempelli take a lot of the spotlight from the Dogs. They've been absolute stars the last few weeks. Obviously, they always have been, but someone like a Kennedy allows them to be that. Maybe is he the defensive body that needs to go on a Nick Dacos this week? They obviously need to do something about Nick Dacos. They stopped Nick. They probably stopped Collingwood. Connor McKenna and the defensive forward role he played on Josh Dacos last week sort of stifled his influence a bit as well. So I'm going to say no to both of these. I think they can both have an influence on the game, but Josh Dacos can get 25 and still be pretty good. I'm going to say no to 28. I'll say no to 25 for Matt Kennedy as well, because I just feel like he might play a defensive role on Nick Dacos. Just a feeling. I know nothing, but make it that way you will.
Love that. All right, we'll go to the next one. So the Blues are flying into the wild card very, very much going well at the moment. And the way they're moving the ball is hard to stop. Saw that firsthand over the weekend. Ollie Florent is a key card to that movement with his drive off halfback. So he's averaging 26.6 disposals over his last 5 games, which is pretty impressive. And then on the other side of the Demons, Harrison Petty is clunking everything, kicked his way currently and hitting the scoreboard. So he's kicked 2+ goals in 8 straight games, but averaging 3 goals a game in his last 5. So do we have 25+ for Florent or 2+ goals for Petty also?
I said no to the first two in the Dogs Pies game. I'm going to say yes to these two here. 5 in a row for Florent. So his form under Josh Fraser has obviously picked up. He's been a really good pickup for him this season. I think he can have an influence on the G, so I'll say yes to him. Petty, yes as well. A lot of injury clouds for several Melbourne Tools this week as well. So they, if they do lose a couple of players as expected, then he'll have to shoulder a fair bit of the aerial load, but I think he's capable, so I'll back him in as well.
Yeah, I think in saying the last one, I'm hoping for a shootout. I pretty much guarantee this one's going to be a shootout. I think it is going to be absolute 100 points for either the team. Is pretty much a lock this week. So I think it's going to be all-out attack between the two, and then whoever can essentially outdo the other. But yeah, I'll go 25+ and 2+ for Petty too also. And yeah, that's going to be an exciting game. I think the Collingwood game will be less exciting, and I'm more excited for the Melbourne versus Carlton game.
Yeah. There's intrigue for both of the games for different reasons, but
there are.
Yes, anyway, that was the Hot Stat Checklist powered by StatMate. Download the app for free now. All right, let's finish it off with, don't be surprised if, I actually said this on the Monday pod with Champion Data, I'm going to say it again. I reckon at least one wildcard team reaches a semi-final. So you just look at the way it's all shaping up. My tips right now are Collingwood and Carlton, and if that's the case, Carlton would get Geelong, who is Geelong's bogey team. Carlton have a really good record against the Cats. Carlton's a different team now than what they were. They're better now. And if those results do happen, then Collingwood would end up getting Adelaide, a team that the Pies have a really good record against. So Adelaide probably don't want Collingwood. True. Geelong probably don't want Carlton. So if Carlton and Collingwood win, which is what I expect, I think there's 2 real danger games for those elimination final hosts. So I'm going to say don't be surprised if at least one wildcard team reaches the semi-final.
That's a very, very good point. I'll have to agree on that one. I'm going to be don't be surprised now. We talked about the finances and where the finances go during finals, and that would be the head office of the IFL. And very interesting. A lot of people are like, oh man, I hope that Carlton versus Collingwood is kind of in this wild card round. They're going to get all this excitement and all these massive crazy fans come to the G. But low key, if we're talking about finances, I think the IFL is stoked that they're not playing each other, because what that means is you get essentially 2 games with 100,000 fans besides just one game. So I'm going to go with the IFL is just licking their lips going, wow, we just walked into an ultimate money bag from this wild card round.
It's true.
Wild card round. We also got the TV rights to go an extra week. And then not only that, we get all the cash from the ticket sales between 2 different teams that have a massive fan base. Yes. So I'm going to say that's my don't be surprised. AFL is feeling pretty darn good right now.
It's a good point. You split the money, right? You split the fan bases. So instead of having 100K at a Collingwood Carlton game and then 50K at an Adelaide hosted game, which is what would have been if you had Collingwood and Carlton, That's what, 150k in total ticket sales. Well, now you're getting 90 odd k at Carlton Melbourne. You're going to get 90 odd k at Collingwood and the Western Bulldogs. 2 + 2 = 4. You can do the math.
80,000 more.
I think you're onto something there, Coxie. That's actually a very good point. Hey, Swita announced his retirement.
Yeah, I know. So sad. But an incredible human. Like I've obviously only known him for a short amount of time, but Swita's an absolute legend. He's kind of one of those just humble guys that just kind of gets it done and, doesn't love a bit of media exposure and stuff. I think today he was doing his, his press conference and stuff. And he was like, all right, that's enough. That's enough. He's like, doesn't love the spotlight being on him. But yeah, an incredible human, gives a lot back to the community. But I think the biggest thing for him is a massive family man, which is obviously one of the main decisions in him making the retirement today. He talked about his wife and their future kid, which is due anytime soon, which is really exciting for him and his family, and just wanting to be able to be back in Melbourne with his extended family to help out. So, incredible human. He's played 130 odd games, I think, and been through a lot with injuries and everything else. So it's, those people that, have had to fight for their spot and be able to continuously fight against injury and everything else. I've got a lot of respect for. And he's been one of the people I've really, looked up to, I think, whenever I came to this club, getting to know him. And, he's been a great guiding light for a lot of the young fellas over there. And, got a lot of love for him.
Well said, mates. Get it done for Swita. New hashtag for your finals campaign, maybe. Coxie, that's where we'll leave it, mate. Enjoy your week off. We'll speak to you again next week ahead of 4 massive games. And to everyone else listening or watching, enjoy the footy this week. Don't forget to put your tips in. That, of course, is still running. So open up the Footy Tips app and get those tips done. We'll speak to you all next week.